Alright, looks like we're live. I'm about to try and catch this other feed so we don't get the echo. Well, Hotep, ETM Hotep, welcome in peace, everybody. It's Divine Words Wednesdays with Seshu Ma'a Nimeru Necher. Let me see. Dang, there it goes. With the loyal and true scribes of the Divine Words. Thank you for tuning in. This is your brother June, uh, also known as Robert Allen on Facebook. I guess we can just go through the introduction right now. We have some brothers and sisters on the panel. If you guys can just introduce yourself.
ETM Hotep, everybody. This is Damian Everly on Facebook. Welcome to another Divine Words Wednesdays.
Hotep. This is Tonika, and yeah, welcome to our Divine Words Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoy.
ATM Hotep, Duahu, Hekanu N, Amin Ra, Bata, Kwai Second. I go by Kofi Paisa. We just want to thank you for tuning in to Divine Words Wednesday. And the whole team would just like to welcome you all.
Yeah, we have Antoine in the building, San Antoine, but you might be away from the microphone right now. But yeah, he's definitely in the house.
Hotel family. This is brother Antoine Germain. I thought I was speaking. Sorry about that. My mic was muted. Trying to share my screen and also communicate at the same time. Once you share that PowerPoint, you kind of lose out on what's going on, your visuals. But yeah, ETM Hotel to the family. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, able to gain some insight and some essential information as you begin to increase your knowledge in the Mega Nectar. Once again, it's SSU, Ma, Nimetu Nectar, Lord Scribes with Divine Words. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, real quick, Sam, want to read the Sheshu Ma'ani Medu Nature mission statement. The Sheshu Ma'ani Medu Nature is a membership of like-minded individuals with aspirations of being true Lord Scribes of divine words, the Medu Nature. We embrace the importance of learning the languages of Kemet as a means to enter the world of ancient Kemet and have a meeting of the minds with the illustrious civilization, society, culture, and people responsible for contributing so much to the world, whether we realize it or not. Back to you, Sin.
Excellent. Looks like we definitely want to begin this evening by pouring our libations, as we previously discussed. We do a Hotep Dina suit to recognize the ancestors. And during our Hotep Dina suit, we're basically just showing reverence. And what we do is we leave the name blank. That way, you're able to fill in someone who you reverenced or someone who you revered. Now, if you can see my screen, you can actually see the actual glyphs that go with the Hotep Dina suit. After the glyphs, you see the transliteration, and you also see the translations. Trying to see if someone can assist us by reading the Egyptology Speaks of the Hotep Dina suit.
Hotep Dinasu Wasir Neb Jeru Neter Aha Neb Ebu Dief Pert Heru Tet and Het Ka Apet Sej Minhet Het Nebet, Neferet, Wabet, Achet, Neter, Im, En, Ka, In, Im, Haru. The blank name, and Ma'akeru. And it
Excellent.
translates into an offering which gives the kings Osiris or Asar, Lord of Jeddu, great God, Lord of Abydos, so that he may give verbal offerings, and bread, beer, ox, fowl, alabaster, linen, everything good and pure on which a God lives. For the Ka of the Reverend One, the name justified.
Excellent. So hopefully you were able to think of someone to reverence and plug in their name. This is our form of pouring libations at the beginning of our show. As stated, we are like-minded individuals who aspire with the desire to be true and loyal scribes of the divine word. And then we've already completed and read our mission statement. And also we're interested in like-minded individuals who are also interested in learning MeduNetTer. The purpose of our show is to give examples of how Sesh MeduNetTer, which is known as the hieroglyphic script, is translated. In doing so, we also hope to address, number one, that the Sesh MeduNetTer script has been deciphered. Number two, we hope to show you the method in which we translate. And number three, demonstrate that with time, discipline, and patience, anyone can do it. Once again, it's important that you understand to emphasize the fact that you must have time, you must have discipline, and you must be patient. All right. So this evening, we have a picture. We have a picture that we're going to share. Prior to sharing the pictures, I will provide with you the translation method. My brother June, you still with us?
To you.
Okay. I don't know if I was shooting guard or point guard.
Well, go ahead. Oh, good. You're doing a good job.
All right. No problem at all. I don't mind being Kyrie, not Kyrie, Westbrook. I think he's a combination of both. Right, he's a combination of both. Let's see. Step one, determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. That's the first initial step. And remember, these 4 steps are followed by all individuals. Some individuals do them a little quicker than others, but in order to get to the ultimate goal of translation, you must be able to do these 4 steps. Number one, determine the direction. We'll kind of go into that. Identify and document each individual sign. This is your area in which you collect the data. After you collect the data, you want to step 3. You want to group the signs into words to be searched in dictionaries, or group the words into group the signs into words that you may already know or recognize. Once again, knowing the determinatives also helps in this area. And step number 4, come up with a sensible translation. Now, we'll emphasize this a little later, but when we do our transliteration, that should be exact match, identical, accurately. But our translation may vary as we, discuss certain words may have multiple meanings. So our image for this evening, this image may be one that you may be familiar with. I believe it was posted in our Facebook group. And we decided to take some time and to use it for tonight's presentation. Now, if we look at this picture, several things going on. We see definitely we see a cow that's pretty obvious that sticks out, and as we look up under the cow, carrying it's either carrying I believe the netter above, actually the netter above. Then you can kind of take. Some people like to spend time looking at the images and soaking those in. Tonight we want to focus on the glyphs or the Sesh MeduNetTer that is up under the image. Here goes a bigger picture for those having difficulty to see. Hopefully tonight, I know we do have our chat up and we're using our chat. So any individuals in our chat who would like to share or provide commentary and help us out with our translation, it would be greatly appreciated. As I begin to look at this image, the first thing that I would do, or we do as a team, we determine the direction. Can anyone help us in determining which direction this should be read?
What we do on the panel? Excuse me.
Yeah, panel.
Okay. Well, looking at the glyphs and looking at the sign, they are facing toward the right, so it would be read right to left, horizontal. I mean, yeah, right to left, vertical. I mean, excuse me.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we definitely was right. Now, how were you able to figure it out for our listening audience if they were having trouble figuring out which direction to read?
Well, what I was looking at is the way the signs are facing. You have in the first vertical column, you have the cobra, which is facing toward the right. You have the reed leaf up under it, is also facing toward the right. You have the seat or throne up under the water ripple, which is also facing toward uh, the right. Um, in the second column, vertical column, you have the Netcher flag is facing toward the right. The quail chick at the bottom of the reed leaf is facing toward the right. And in the third vertical column, you have the World Scepter, which is facing toward the right, and the reed leaf at the bottom is also facing toward the right. And in the fourth vertical column, you have the seated Netcher, which is facing toward the right, and the backbone and spinal cord, which is facing toward the right.
Now, when I first looked at this, I was kind of thrown off because it does look like it could be horizontal. So we know it's read right to left. Can you kind of, if anyone wants to share, what kind of help you determine if it was going to be horizontal or vertical?
Um, yeah, I would say that just knowing the formula in the beginning, that would definitely help.
Absolutely.
Get any confusion out of the way, and just pretty much knowing the combinations of the glyphs to make up the words, the familiar ones.
Okay, yes. So right here we know this beginning glyph is going to tell us that someone is speaking, so we want to make sure that we go to that person that is speaking. Also, you want to remember that the scribes usually wrote in the quadrants of four, and so the four quadrant or the quadrants, and so we can kind of see a quadrant here and a quadrant there, as opposed to going across or going horizontal.
Yeah, that's a good point because looking at it horizontally, it would start to get sloppy and jumbled up. So to read it vertically is goes along with those quadrants you're talking about.
Yeah. So we want to break this down into four columns. This will be column one, column two, column three, and column four, as opposed to anyone who may be confused about going horizontal. Excellent.
This
And so
is
as
a bit
we,
more simplified. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam.
no, you're fine.
And this is pretty good how they got them, and we're able to determine the columns. Because if you remember, some weeks back, maybe in over a month, when we did that lintel, and that lintel was kind of you gotta kind of put everything together to find out what was going where and everything. It's a little bit more complicated.
Right. And like I said, the more you translate, the more you recognize certain phrases, which will kind of help you determine the direction and also help you determine how to break the columns or the rows up. All right. So one thing we do is, so for step one, we went ahead and determined the direction. Step two, we want to go through each column and identify particular signs. And as St. Kofi did when he determined the direction, he was able to identify particular signs. And as you pick out these signs, each sign can have up to 3 functions. And so we have, let's see here, we have our viper and, like you said, reed leaf, water, cedar stool, eye, walking stick, what have you. So of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 different glyphs here, we're able to pick out the glyphs and determine the different functions. Before we go into the next column, I want to see if anyone can help us, or can anyone share with the audience the 3 different functions of the glyphs? As far as the roles that each glyph may play.
Well, I know one is it can be used as a determinative. It can also be used as an ideogram.
Yep, the ideogram. Some people pronounce it ideogram. The ideogram. You're right.
Oh,
Wait. I heard you mentioning other things. I thought it was just an ideogram.
Ideogram. So you said
But
determinative.
go ahead, St. June.
Yeah, ideogram, and then it could also be a phonogram, which be giving you the sound.
Okay, excellent. When you say ideogram, when you say phonogram, or when you say determinative, can you kind of explain to the audience what the difference between the 3 are? If not you, maybe someone else can help us out and determine those 3 differences.
Well, the ideogram is comes from the Greek word idea, the grapho, to write, idea writing. Like you said, deals with it's literal objects, pictograms, and word logograms, but it more conveys of the idea of something. It's not so literal, right, to what it's saying right away. Part of the ideogram. That's my input on it. Anybody else want to add to that?
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can tell us about phonogram, what phonogram means.
All right. Like I said, it's to do with the sound, and I guess since we touched on where the logogram or the ideogram came from, this phonogram word also is from the Greek for voice sound. That's basically what that means in Greek. But it's used where each letter in the English alphabet is a symbol that represents a sound rather than an object. So before we were talking about the ideogram, which should also be called like a pictogram or a logogram. This phonogram will deal more with what sound you're going to be getting.
Excellent. Yeah. So we come to find out that the terms ideogram, logogram, and pictogram are sometimes used interchangeably, and depending on which author you're reading, they could be using those, but those 3 words pretty much mean the same thing. They're pretty much synonyms. And then phonogram, like you said, phono deals with sound. Last but not least would be determinatives. Can anyone tell us the function and the role that determinatives play in the glyphs?
Hotep.
Hotep, you want to tell us what determinative roles play?
Yeah, Q.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, determinatives are glyphs that receive their names because these glyphs appear at the end of words and they help determine the semantic meaning of the words. So that's where they get the name determinative from. But they also serve as classifiers for concrete nouns where words can be classified into different categories. So the glyphs that are used usually paint a little bit of a broad semantic scope that the words can belong in. So that's what our determinatives are. And they're silent and they're not transliterated. And they also help us to determine the word boundaries. In other words, where a word ends and another word can begin.
I definitely appreciate your input. Go ahead and introduce yourself. We have another member joining us on the panel this evening.
Oh yeah, I'm coming late, but this is Wujao, and just jumping in and listening in, and I just chime in when I can.
I appreciate it. All right, so we just discussed that we're working on step 2 and determining the glyphs, and also as we determine each glyph, we're looking at the roles that the glyphs may play, and that's what we mentioned the 3 different functions. All right, so let's see. We talked about column 1. Look at column 2. There are several glyphs that stick out. Does anyone want to name some of the glyphs? If you know the name or if you know the Gardner code, kind of share it with the audience for column 2.
I kind of named them, but I mean, I'll name them. Again, the netter flag, the club behind it. I mean, not the club, but the Lord, it looks like a club. But I know that wouldn't be a club just because of some of the things he was talking about other way dealing with the sequence, and so I knew that wouldn't be a club. Which it could be him nature, but it's not going to be him nature. It's I think it's the or. Is it the or the column? The column. The column.
Yeah.
The column. Yeah. The column. The men board. The water ripple. The half a bread loaf. The quail chick. And the basket without the handle.
All right.
Oh.
So those are the first 2 columns.
And then we should also mention, as we mentioned in our previous shows, that once you get to this point of transliterating and translating pictures and stuff, there's a lot of work that you probably would already had to do. One of them being really important is memorizing the monoliterals. That's going to save you a lot of time in the steps. And we have a few of them on here. First column, we have the reed leaf. It's M17. Right under the reed leaf, we have the water ripple. It's N35. What else? In the second column, we have another water ripple. We have the quail chick, which is G43. In front of that, we have the bread loaf, which is X1. Another bread loaf in the third column, Gardner code X1. We have the door bolt, which is O34. The mouth, what's that, D21. Another reed leaf, water ripple. So that's a lot of signs right there. You'd save time once you get to memorize that. But yeah, so for the people that's doing this, just stick with it, work and get familiar as you can with the monoliterals, because that would definitely save you a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, definitely. So get those monoliterals down, and then from there you want to go into the biliterals and so forth. Definitely, as he said, stay true some time. I look in this third column, and when this third column is kind of throwing me off, it's some weird symbols over here. I see about 2 or 3 symbols there. I'm like, man, what is that? So can we help the audience out by kind of identifying? Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
That's go ahead, Sam. Robert.
Well, let's just go all the way through them. We're reading right to left, and then let's start at the first one, which is the wasp scepter. The wasp scepter. What's the code on that one? Man, I can't
code.
find it. Yeah, is it R what is that? R19? It's transliterated W capital A S.
Yeah, the wall scepter R19.
Yeah. Behind that we have the bread loaf. It's Gardner code X1. Under that we have what's that? O49, I think. That's the new symbol. We talked about this on our last show. We saw it in the word Kemet.
That's the Niwet symbol.
Yeah. We call it the X-Men belt buckle, but the X is kind of messed up in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
What about this symbol right here? This one is the one that's throwing some people off.
Which one?
The one up under the Nuet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the
I'm
tongue.
thinking this was like a. Yep, exactly. Gardner code F20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the description on that is the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So we got door bolt, mouth, reed leaf, men game, water ripple, netter, another basket out the handle, bread loaf. This is our rib and spine. Does anybody know the Gardner code on that rib and spine?
Oh yeah.
Got F40. That F. We know it's in our Fs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you was close. It's
Body part.
F39.
F39. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's missing that spinal cord on the other side or something. Yeah,
Okay.
F39 is transliterated I M capital A X.
Okay.
What page
And then-
was-
I'm sorry to hear you saying Damo.
Oh, I was asking June what page it was on. Is that second edition? What page was it?
No, my second edition is crispy. I ain't messing with
Yeah,
it
my
yet.
Right. Hey, my second edition is still wrapped up, bro. But in the second edition, let's
Yeah,
see.
my bad.
I see it 311 and a 311.
311 in the second edition.
Okay.
307 in the first edition.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. Then up under that, the last but not least. Or the last
Oh,
symbol.
that one? Yeah, for that one, depending on what sign list you use, and you can find one on the MetaNature.com, or the one in the appendix in the back of the beginner's introduction to MetaNature, or just any sign list you Google, Gardner sign list. It's either going to be double A1 or J1.
Excellent. All right. And so from there, we were able to go through and identify each sign in step 2. We would take those signs and begin to group them together to figure out phrases or words. And this initial formula we're pretty familiar with from previous translations. So once we will break this into the first 4 glyphs, leaving the last 2 glyphs to be a different word. So from the first column, we're able to break it into two different sections or phrases. In our second column, we're able to break that one up as well. Now, as we go through and break the words up into different phrases and different words, can anyone help the audience determine, or like for the first one, we know because of the fact that we know the formula. When we get to the second column, what would be some advice you could give them helping them break out into different phrases or different words? Or I guess for any of the columns, 2, 3, or 4.
Well, like you said earlier, keeping in mind that they often wrote in quadrants. What that means is it's like a grid to keep everything, ordered and neat. It made like a grid or quadrants, so you'll find groups in those quadrants.
Excellent, excellent. So, well, we'll go through the second column and pick out different words we know go together. As far as here we have letter A, or the letter in this symbol right here. We know that that's a word. So that gives us two words we know, another third one in the second column. And then in the fourth column, we have, after the letter A, we have another phrase. And so what we do is we go through each column using our dictionary and our research tools and break them into each different phrase and different words. And after doing that, we will come up with a list to look something like this would be our translation. For column 1, we will have the following.
Yeah, another thing that will help is working with the dictionaries. We usually use the Mark Vigus 2015 version dictionary, and looking up groupings by their Gardner codes or by their transliterations can help figure out words too.
Definitely. So here goes our first column. Would anyone like to share the Egyptologist speaks for the first column with the audience?
Yeah, I'll do it. Djed Medu in Wusir. Neta A Menchu Neb. Watset Nasir Amen. This one I'm gonna have a problem with. Neb Imaku.
Hey, I wanted to chime in on the pronunciations, and encourage everyone to do their best to pronounce the words, even though we call it Egyptology Speak or classroom pronunciations, as it's formally called. What it does, it will burn into your psyche the visual sight of looking at the different words, whether you're looking at the Sesh Medu Neter or you're looking at the transliteration, but it will match and burn that together with the meaning. Now, once a longer project is fulfilled with restoring the historical accurate pronunciations, then it becomes just a matter of transposing the correct pronunciations on top of what you have already been practicing all along. So it's encouraged to do your best to pronounce this. And we all understand that these pronunciations are all tentative and they're conventional. They're not meant to be, historically accurate whatsoever. But yeah, that was excellent though, Son Kofi. I had a question, not a question, but wanted to kind of put something on the floor. If you can go back to the picture, if you can go back to the previous, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. In the second column, I noticed that it's saying Jed Medu and Wasir Necher A, but now I'm just now seeing this, so forgive me if I could be jumping the gun, but to me it looks like it's saying Jed Medu in Wasir Hem Necher Manchu, which is a high priest of Mantu or Mintu, Manchu.
Yeah, that's what I said a while ago. We looked at like the club. That's why I said the club the first time, but just looking at it all the time, we using that little formula. We all, we always determine it's great nature, but it could, but it does look like a club. It does look like a club instead of a column.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to put I guess give my 2 cents on that.
So what is it then? Is it him nature or is it our nature? So
I guess we gotta see how it flow, huh?
Well, context. This is limited context because we're dealing with a very limited amount of words in the total picture, and then we don't know what what else was included or anything like that. So you have to see. But I just wanted to point that out. It does look like a club, like Hemnetcher, because when you asked about the second column, I was just gonna um, make mention of what's called honorific transposition, where you see the word for divine or divinity, which is the word netcher, or the different netcheru themselves, or even the word for king itself, which is soup, the sedge plant. You'll see that in honorific being honored and put into the front of words where normally grammatically it would be pronounced afterwards. So even if this is this is netcher ah, then it would be grammatically okay with what we're seeing. But if it's Hemnetcher, then it would be honorific transposition taking place right here. So that's what I was going to mention, but then it made me think about it being a club instead of the column.
Yeah, it could be.
Uh-oh. Guess we have to sit down and do some research and figure out which one it's going to be. Excellent. Thanks for that insight as far as the netcher. So I thought it was netcher ah, but you're saying it's Hemnetcher. So we can make that discrepancy once we. I guess we can make a discrepancy here, where it would be we had netcher ah, and you saying it would be Hemnetcher. So it would be HM then NTR, and so that would be that would be honorific transposition. Is that correct?
Oh, two, yes. If it's Hemnetcher, then it would be honorific transposition. So capital H, lowercase m, and then hyphen netcher.
Okay. And here we had netcher ah. So excellent. Thanks for pointing that out for us. So based on the translation, which like I said, we want to get that to be exact. And so this is where we would someone would come to the table with netcher ah, and someone would come to the table with Hemnetcher, and we would sit down and kind of look at our references and compare it and to see which one would fit best. And so from there, this is where our translation should be accurate and exact, even with the capital letters, lowercase letters, or what have you, as we use our manual decodage in our transliteration. After we did our transliteration, we would come up with a sensible translation, and the translation we came up with for this is. Oh, guess I better go over this first. Once we picked out our different glyphs and had our different words written down, we will use a dictionary to confirm our meanings. And so here we can see the different pages in Vigus 2015 edition that we use to get the meanings of each of the words. Our geometry formula can be found on page 820. Was here, page 63. Netcher ah was 1695. And once again, we said that netcher ah possibly or should be Hemnetcher. Our next word was Matu, page 246.
Senatwan.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Is this 2013 or 2015?
I believe it's the 2015 edition of Vigus. Is that correct?
I was just trying to let the audience out there know what was.
Yeah, that's 2015.
2015 edition of Vigus. You can find these meanings and definitions on these pages. So Matu, page 2460. Ned, which we actually saw in there a couple of times. 2273. Waset, which we actually picked out that glyph to kind of let you know what that is, that Waset and the location symbol at the end. 1713. Nasir page 1324. Amen 1177. And I'm gonna chop this one up. Aksu, page 518. And someone pronounce that for me, the last word.
E Maku.
E Maku. So E Maku, page 518, and E Maku is a very popular term, so we should be able to get that down accurately and also the translation accurately. So after we went through and looked up all these different phrases and words, we would come up with a sensible translation. As I stated, the translation that we came up with for this particular glyph is can someone help us out by reading the translation for the audience?
Do you have it on the screen? Oh yeah. Okay, I see. Words spoken by Osiris, the great divinity, Munchu, the lord of Waset, Neter Amun, the lord of veneration.
Excellent. Now, based on what we said, we would go back and have Neter as him Neter.
Yeah.
So if we use him Neter, what would be the translation?
Divine servant.
Divine servant. So words spoken by Wasir, the divine servant, Matu, the Lord, Waset, Nasir, Amin, the Lord of veneration. And like I said earlier, this Lord of veneration, this is a pretty new title. I hadn't seen that one before. So the more translation you do, you'll see different epithets or different titles that start to become more familiar and stick out for different individuals. Excellent. I'm not sure if anyone's watching the chat or if we had any questions. I do want to go back up to the glyph and see if we can see these things that we pointed out.
Yeah, I wanted to. Okay, I can't see the. Okay, there it is. I can see the picture. I'm looking at the YouTube instead of the actual. Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make a comment. Let me make this bigger. Okay, yeah. I just want to make a comment about the Hem Neter. So if we are going with Hem Neter, then it would be words spoken by Wasir, the Wasir. And Wasir is a title of the deceased, and it could be male or female. So Jed Medu in Wasir, a word spoken by the Wasir, divine servant of Manchu or Minchu, who is Lord of Waset, and then the person's name, Nasir Amin, and then he is Lord of the venerated. That T, that bread loaf there in the last column on the left would at first glance it would give you the impression that we're dealing with the word nipt, which will be a feminine form of the word Lord, and it wouldn't quite make sense for a male person. So this lets me know, just on the surface, I would look into this, but just on the surface, this would let me know that this piece of artifact is more of a late Egyptian, what scholars call late Egyptian, which is latter Rani Kemet, the latter form of the language, which is a different language from the older forms, where you have the articles before the nouns. So the T would not go with the basket necessarily. It would be a definite article for the word the. So ta imaku. And that would just be my first impression before looking into it further. So that would let me know that this is a later period piece of artifact. I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody could probably look that up. And if that's true, then that would lead me to believe to go down the road of what I just said.
Excellent. That's interesting because when we were looking at it earlier, we actually Sinette actually did have the T, and she told us to remove it, and so that kind of makes sense now based off of what you just said. Excellent, excellent. Did anyone else have anything else to add? And do we have any comments in the chat?
Nah, we don't have.
Did everybody discuss the elephant in the room? The picture above?
Oh, when we first came on, I kind of talked about the fact that we have a cow and we have a netter so laying down on a cow, and we can kind of make our own assumptions. But I just want to stick particularly with the glyphs, and we went ahead and translate the glyphs based off of that. But any insight on the picture would be interesting, and I can share my thoughts as well.
Oh no, I was just asking because like I said, I definitely came in late, and you all may have already went through that.
No, we just kind of looked at it. Let's see. The cow or the bull carrying. I guess we want to say this is Matu. So I would look at it possibly the cow. I want to say transcending. I don't know. I probably wouldn't make any assumptions just based off of this little bitty piece of work. Other than the fact that similar to how they used the boat to travel, I would say this might be like what is known as the Heavenly Cow or something like that. That would be my initial area to research. If I was to want to get more information, I would look into the significance of the Heavenly Cow and what role that plays, and kind of figure out if that relates to this scene or not. That would be my approach.
Well, just from the knowledge, little bit of information that I know about the culture is that the bull, well, because this is a piece dealing with the deceased, because we have Jed Midu in Wasir. So the deceased, Nesser Amen, it's relative to funerary rites and things. And I know that when the bull is at play in funerary rites, there's always a reenactment of episodes where the bull, not necessarily a cow, but a bull carries the deceased body of Wasir, the Necher Wasir as opposed to the deceased Wasir. And this is in one of the stories where Heru, where the bull, I believe it's the Hapis bull, carries the deceased body of Wasir on behalf of Heru. So this very well may be alluding to that in terms of a deceased person. So you have the corpse or the mummy.
And that's it. Is that in the Minerva coming from Minerva from that region, that story? Because when you talk about Apis, I know that story where they talk about the bull Apis and they talk about Usir. So is it coming from out of that region, that story?
Yeah, it's coming from those stories. Yes, and how you know that this is a deceased or a mummy is because you can look at the gold, or the yellowing coloring of the linen, and it's covering the whole body where you don't see the feet or anything like that. So this is a mummified form of an individual. So that would just be my take just from a little bit of being familiar with the different stories.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, that's a lot along the same lines as what I was thinking. And also, this is a pretty small piece of, what is that, stone or whatever, so they had limited space to work with. That's it.
So yeah, that's excellent. Like I said, I came in late. I apologize for my tardiness coming in, so I don't know what was discussed prior, but that's excellent, and I hope that is clear to everyone who's watching. and who'll be watching the archives in terms of the process, because it's all about methodology when it comes to transliterating and translating. It's definitely about methodology, because if you have a flawed method, then you'll have a flawed outcome. You know, what do they call it? What you put in is what you get out. And you know, you have problems going into something, then you'll most likely end up with problems coming out. So that's excellent.
Yeah, and that's the main thing we want to present on our Divine Words Wednesdays is the methods of translation. Like Antoine said, everyone follows these 4 steps. Some people just do it a little bit faster than others, but you basically these 4 steps are the what we try to focus on. So if anybody has any questions with the method or the steps, please comment or ask them. But yeah, that's basically what we wanted to show today.
Yeah, and it's good we emphasize that because I personally had some friends who look from the outside, look at it and be like, well, how, I don't believe y'all could, and then I had some friends that actually I've sat down, slowed down, showed them the method, let them work the method themselves, and they saw the proof. I mean, it's there. I mean, once they do it, they're like, oh, I didn't know y'all put this together with that, and then y'all identified each sign, and then y'all had dictionaries to look up the sign to see where everything, and then y'all put them together and made a sentence. It was like, and then he understood. Oh, okay, yeah, I understand. But it takes that person to slow down. Some people, they won't slow down and look at it that way. I'll put them.
Yeah, that's why we always emphasize time, discipline, and patience. And so that you definitely got to take the time to put forth, to catch your errors and to, go back and make the accurate adjustment and corrections.
Yeah, and also lets us know that you got to be flexible, and even doing transliterations and translations, you're actually doing a very, 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 very condensed form of the scientific method, because while you're transliterating and translating between steps 2, 3, and 4, you're actually formulating a hypothesis first, and then you're going to double check your hypothesis by the time you get to step 4 by it making sense or not, and you're using your context clues, and then sometimes you have to go back to step 2 and 3 to readjust what you thought you had, and then you make those adjustments, and then you retest it again, and then it will make sense. So you're actually doing a very, very condensed form of the scientific method of formulating a hypothesis based on a very educated guess, and then you're testing it out, and then you'll be able to either falsify your initial hypothesis, or you'll be able to confirm it. So these steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 are, in terms of this process, is a very condensed form of the scientific method. So we stress method, which is Tep Hesed in the language, and that we can't stress that more.
Hey, Saint Antoine.
Yes, sir.
Put the other picture back up there. Sheshmu is, I guess he's still confused after Sable said it's deceased. So he said, what did the Meta Netra say? So I'm just telling you to put. So he's looking at what was the translation again. So we know it's the deceased. The title of the dead, it don't matter if it's male or female, it's going to be Wusir. So you see Wusir right here, and then at the top of the cow you see a Sahu. You see the mummy, the Sahu, inside the Keres. So this is how we know it's dealing with death, Sheshmu. So I mean, I can't explain it any further. I mean, maybe you can go in a little bit more if he's not understanding with the Jed Meduin formula when it's dealing with Wusir being a title for the deceased, and then you see the Sahu and the Koresh on top of the mummy. So that's how I would know. I'm just speaking for me. This is how I would know
it being something dealing with the deceased.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nothing to add to that. That's correct. Wasir is the title for the deceased, and venerated ones, the Imaku, is also an epithet of the deceased, and as well as Maheru, but Maheru is not here. But also in your context clues, you're dealing with a mummy that's right there in the actual figure that's there.
I think he wants to know the whole translation again. So
Oh,
just
it's the words spoken by Wasir, the divine servant or high priest of Menchu, which is a nature of war, and a lot of people are familiar with, who is Lord of Waset. And then we have the name of the person, Nesir Amen. And then we have Neb, who is Lord of the Venerated.
And also, like you said, this imagery often has time to do, or imagery often deals with the procession, or the leading of the mummy. So, like I said, this is a small piece of stone or whatever they wrote on, so they had limited space, and they're trying to put, you know, all that into one little picture.
Yeah, and also on the subject, because earlier, Son Antoine, you asked about the different functions of the glyphs, and I think that is overlooked by a lot of people. So maybe that needs to be stressed more, maybe by us and other people who do know about that. But that's a very important aspect of the language to understand, to really, really wrap your mind around, because it's that information that's critical to knowing and understanding how the language works, and it will eliminate the belief, the false belief that Seshmetu Neter is not deciphered and it's not translated properly or what have you. Those who say those kinds of things, in my experiences in talking with them and dealing with people that say that, they don't have an understanding of how the language works, and they don't understand the principles that govern the actual glyphs themselves, how the glyphs can represent and function in those one of those three different ways, as a phonogram, ideogram, or as a determinative. And that's very critical to understanding that. Once that's highlighted, once that's talked about more, then maybe we can eliminate the belief that the language is not deciphered or language is not translated properly.
Definitely appreciate that insight. I definitely want to go ahead and if there were any more questions in our chat, I'll go ahead and conclude our presentation. If Sinette want to give us.
Hold on real quick. Let me just, because I see the Sonnet Quinticia. Don't get, because it's like a lot of information, and she's kind of new to this whole thing. Um, basically, just remember the steps, and like we said, some people just, just starting out, you're gonna take longer. Um, she was, asking about, this is the fundamentals. I think it's kind of intimidating. But like we said earlier, there's a little bit of work that you'll have to do before you get to actually translating and transliterating this stuff. So just stick with it, and practice the steps, and eventually you'll understand more, and the steps will get quicker for you. So anybody, even Chesmu, just stick with it. The 4 steps, and you'll pick it up. So I just don't want anybody to get frustrating or intimidated by this.
Yeah, and also, Son Antoine, could you go back to the picture of the artifact? I'm gonna wait till it shows up on the YouTube part. Oh, yeah. And I forgot there's a delay between the two. Yeah, to add on to what you just said, June, we have to remember that our minds, the way that we have cognition of writing systems is that our minds, or this is for anything really, our minds lean towards patterns. So through time and through working with the different glyphs or the different artifacts that you're going to be working with on your practices and exercises, your mind, you're automatically going to start to group these different signs into patterns. So just remember, it's all about patterns. But because when we first look at this, it's going to be intimidating because all we see when we first look at this, are a bunch of glyphs, just independent glyphs. And it's almost analogous to looking at open up a huge Chinese newspaper that's written in the Chinese writing system. And like if I were to do that right now, all those signs would just look like a bunch of scratches on paper to me, because I have not dealt with the language long enough in order to group these different signs into the patterns, of what we call words and things like that. So this is what happens to everybody when they first deal with Sesh Medu Neter, the hieroglyphs. You're just going to see beautiful signs and on top of that, it's a little slower because these are signs that we recognize in our reality, in our environment. Like we know what a snake is, we know what a flower is, we know what a man is sitting down is, we know what a seated woman looks like, we know what a bird looks like. So these are actual depictions of things that are around us, as opposed to these abstract strokes that we call characters of the English alphabet, or other different writing systems where they don't duplicate what we see in nature. So those two things are going to kind of slow us down from it, but eventually through time your mind is going to start grouping these signs together into words, and it's just going to happen. It happens to every single person, so it's no need to be frustrated, no need to rush it or anything like that. It's going to happen. So I'm saying that to say that just just relax about it, and it shouldn't be intimidating to anybody whatsoever. And this is something that I always tell people, because at first sight it can be intimidating, and that's really a deterrent from people learning the language, because they feel like it's hard, and it's not hard. It just takes some time. So it's a lot of work, but it's not hard work. Okay, and that's the difference. So it's a lot of work, which means it takes time, but it's not hard. All right, so that's all I wanted to kind of add to that.
I definitely agree. Don't get discouraged. Remember to reach out to the group. We're definitely here to offer advice and support. And also, if you're working on translations and you need some assistance, maybe the name or location of a glyph or anything of that nature, we definitely love to assist you in that area. Want to encourage all viewers to make sure you check out the webpage, www.mdw-ntr.com. Here you can find many resources such as PDF books to assist. Also purchase books and also purchase cards to assist as well. I know that normally Sanet's been doing our closure. I want to go ahead and pass it over to her as we wrap things up for the evening.
All right. Yeah, just before I close up, I was just gonna add that it does definitely help to work in groups and stuff like that. Like as you've seen today as well. Like sometimes when you're doing stuff, you can overlook stuff, or you can get some things wrong. But when some fresh eyes step in, it kind of like push things. So if you want to propel your learning, definitely the group part helps, and it works out as well. So that is for Senet Quintasia as well. You get there, and if you watch the Divine Words Wednesdays and Freestyle Fridays, it definitely helps as well. So not to worry about it. And with that, I'd just like to close and say thank you very much for watching Dua, and I'll say Gerenefer and Shema Motep.